The President. Questions. Question 1, Mr. Shang Hailong. Thank you, President. The government has implemented schemes for trials of autonomous vehicles or AVs at locations such as the West Kowloon Cultural District since 2017, and the new regulatory regime for AVs also came into operation last year to allow wider and more flexible trials of AVs on the roads. However, there are views pointing out that the development of unmanned driving technology and the relevant laws and regulations in Hong Kong have not kept pace with the times, and the application of commercial unmanned driving has not been subject to clear regulation. In this connection, will the government inform this council, 1, whether it has assessed the effectiveness of the staged trials of various projects related to AVs and vehicle-to-everything technology subsidized by the Smart Traffic Fund; 2, given that at the end of last month, a total of 2 AV pilot licenses have been issued by the government to enable applicants to conduct trials on 12 AVs respectively, of the progress of such trials and the expected time when such vehicles will be formally deployed in Hong Kong. 3, given that the government will enact legislation to develop a framework for the regulation of online car hailing platforms, whether the government will conduct a forward-looking study on the incorporation of the technical standards and safety requirements for unmanned vehicles so as to develop a framework for the regulation of online hailing of AVs. Secretary for Transport and Logistics. Mr. President, the government has been promoting the development of autonomous vehicles in Hong Kong in an active and orderly manner through a multi-pronged approach by providing policy support, regulatory backing, and financial subsidy. The new regulatory regime for AVs came into operation in March last year, which allows the Transport Department to provide flexibility for AV trials while ensuring road safety so as to foster the testing and application of more advanced technologies in Hong Kong. In addition to a forward-looking regulatory system, Hong Kong boasts a well-developed road network and highly standardized transport infrastructure, creating an ideal environment for the research and application of AVs. Moreover, our vibrant financial market and fertile ground for innovation have also successfully attracted numerous AV technology companies to establish R&D centers, experiment with AVs and related technologies, and raise funds through listing in Hong Kong. This not only injects vitality into the local economy, but also accelerates the realization of the smart mobility vision. In consultation with the Transport Department, my consolidated reply to the questions raised by Mr. Shang Hailong is as follows. 1. The government subsidizes enterprises and organizations conducting innovative technology research and application related to vehicles through the Smart Traffic Fund. As of last month, the fund has subsidized 5 and 8 projects related to AVs and vehicle-to-everything or V2X respectively, with a funding amount of approximately $170 million. Among these, AV projects cover multiple road scenarios in Hong Kong, such as different types of junctions, zebra crossings, and public transport interchanges, steadily enhancing the capability of AVs to handle Hong Kong's complex road conditions. Regarding V2X technologies and related auxiliary projects, efforts are being made to progressively expand V2X scenario applications and enhance system capability. For example, some projects have significantly increased the number of application scenarios to 20, while others enable communication between at least 2 AV brands, allowing multiple AVs to operate simultaneously. And these projects further enhance the road safety and operational efficiency of supporting infrastructure for AVs. Through projects under the Smart Traffic Fund, the government, the industry, and the academia have collectively accumulated experience. Coupled with cross-departmental collaboration, we have attracted multiple technology companies to invest in AVs and related technologies in Hong Kong. Current trials have achieved highly autonomous driving. That's level 4 under national and international standards, where AVs can continuously perform all dynamic driving tasks under specific operational conditions and automatically execute minimal risk strategies, a technical level comparable to that of the mainland and other parts of the world. 2. Under the new regulatory regime, the testing and application of AVs in Hong Kong are enhancing in speed and efficiency. The Transport Department has issued 2 pilot licenses to allow 12 AVs to be tested in North Lantau and West Kowloon Cultural District, respectively. Significant progress has been made in the trial in North Lantau since its commencement from the end of last year, and various breakthroughs have been achieved. 1. The scale of trial has been expanded from a single vehicle to 10 vehicles operating simultaneously in order to collect data of multiple vehicles running in parallel. 2. Carrying passengers on specified routes after safety assessments. 3. Conducting trial on more complex roads. Current trial routes at the airport have been expanded with plans to conduct trials in Tung Chung in future simultaneously. 4. Increasing the speed limit to 50 km per hour in accordance with the maximum speed limit of the trial route. With the Transport Department's efficient approval process, relevant project achieves the aforementioned breakthroughs within just 5 months. The project applicant also plans to expand the trial to Cyberport. Another project located at the West Kowloon Cultural District will put autonomous light buses equipped with autonomous driving systems to trial. It will follow Hong Kong's left-handed traffic rule. Upon completion of the system development and when the system has been proven safe to operate, trials with passengers will be carried out on public roads in the WKCD. Based on the current progress, we would expect AV application in selected communities within the next 1 or 2 years. Looking forward, with safety as its guiding principle, the government will continue to consolidate the experience gained from various projects, refine technical standards, and share research outcome with the industry in a timely manner to promote the development of AVs in a steady manner. In addition to the above projects, we are also actively advancing other initiatives, such as autonomous light buses running between the Hong Kong Science Park in Sha Tin and the MTR University Station, and an autonomous transportation system connecting the Sky City and Hong Kong International Airport and Hong Kong Port Island of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. 3. The government has all along been committed to enhancing the quality of personalized point-to-point transport services. Regarding the regulation of online car-hailing platforms, the Transport Department is conducting a study on the overall demand and supply of personalized point-to-point transport services. The government will formulate legislative proposals on the regulation of the platforms, including licensing requirements on the platforms, vehicles, drivers within this year after it has fully considered the report of the relevant working group under the Transport Advisory Committee and the views and the relevant data collected. The advancement of AV technology is rapid. We note that many regions have started to apply AVs to commercial operation of passengers and goods transport. Autonomous taxis are also being put to trial in several cities in the mainland, demonstrating the significant potential of the integration of the two. The government will continue to closely monitor the technological advancement and industrial development of AVs and consider the development direction and the regulatory requirements in a forward-looking manner. Thank you, President. Mr. Jesse Chang. Thank you, President. I thank the Secretary for giving us a detailed reply, especially in points 1 and 2 of the main reply. She refers to the government's efforts in promoting AVs since 2017. But I am afraid that we are not being leader in the industry. Now, the chief executive took a delegation to the Middle East. He also tried AVs as well. And I think, Secretary, you also have the issue close to your heart. Now, for point 3, regarding regulation of online car-hailing platforms, the government will look into legislative options, and robo-taxis and the autonomous taxis in this direction will also help in this regard. So in terms of insurance and other relevant matters, will consultation be conducted before drawing up legislative proposals? Secretary. Thank you, President. Thank you, Mr. Shang, for acknowledging our reply, or at least the first 2 points of the reply. Now, we're conducting the study in a forward-looking manner. As mentioned in the main reply, we do note that the development of the technology is rapid. In places such as San Francisco in the United States, autonomous driving is now being deployed in autonomous taxis. We are now conducting a review on AV's regulatory framework. And we'll also conduct a parallel study relating to online car-hailing platforms. Now, in other places, in fact, there is a strong emphasis on such online car-hailing platforms for AVs because it's driverless, and this technology is proven to be helpful. So we do have some insights. When considering legislative proposals in the future, we'll definitely consider the potential of an online car-hailing platform for AVs. In terms of a timetable, the advancement of AV technology is very rapid, and at the same time, we need to be cautious in terms of insurance and other requirements. We will err on the side of caution, so I look forward to briefing members when we have an update. Mr. Gary ZHANG. Well, I think we all acknowledge the government's efforts in promoting AVs this year. I believe that the performance of the government has exceeded our expectation. In the coming few months, we may be able to complete the code of practice on the tests of AVs under CAP 374A, the regulation. Now, once the tests are completed, is it possible to allow AV to be deployed in hire car permit scenarios or carrying passengers as a business? Secretary. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. ZHANG, for your questions. Now, we are getting ahead of ourselves in terms of planning. We have a robust network and good regulatory regime. We are working with some enterprises and also research institutions in Hong Kong so as to allow integration of the two. In fact, recently, I also got on board an AV in North Lantau in one of the trial schemes at the Hong Kong International Airport as the first passenger. Now, our objective and our vision is to allow AVs to carry passengers in a safe and steady manner. Very soon, another trial project will be conducted in Tung Chung. So our goal is not just to allow trials to be conducted, but to put AV technology to commercial use. And that's really the government's tenet. And that is why we need to put in place regulatory requirements for the purpose of passenger carrying AVs. Now, there is a lot for us to do. Despite having a robust transport network, we need to make sure that for the first or the last mile of the journey, good connection is provided. And I do think that autonomous taxis can plug this gap. Mr. Michael Tian. Thank you, President. Well, Secretary, I seek your enlightenment. A few years back, I also got on board one of these vehicles at the airport, and I was told by one of the staff members there that the autonomous driving technology will in no way be put to extensive use in the future because the autonomous vehicles do not have the technology to differentiate different situations. When somebody just jumps out into the street, onto the road out of the blue, they would just stop nilly-willy. So in the long run, is it really meaningful to allow AVs to apply the streets, or should there be separate lanes? Anyway, I do seek your enlightenment on the following matter. Is there any study that looks into how a driverless vehicle can go in parallel with a manned vehicle in, say, crossing the harbor? through the tunnel. Now, like Mr. Michael Tian, a few years back, I also first got in touch with this technology. The vehicle was traveling below the speed of 20 kilometers, and when a bicycle traveled by, it just braked very abruptly. So I had the same question, but President, may I say that recently I have been looking into this matter with my team, and we place safety first. We will conduct trials in a steady manner. From my most recent experience, I would say that for the autonomous vehicle, it comes with radar, it comes with AI and various cameras at different positions. And we are actively trying out AVs and vehicles to everything technologies. Now, in the past, we talked about connecting these devices to the road infrastructure, but now we want to go further. We want the three prongs to be taken forward at the same time. So to answer Mr. Tian's question, whether it's possible to allow AVs and ordinary vehicles to use the cross-harbor tunnel together, I'd say that we have a very good road network in Hong Kong, accommodating different forms of public transport and even pedestrians. So we are in the process of collecting and analyzing data as we take it forward in local communities. Now, if you have read this paper issued to Islands District Council recently, we've conducted this analysis. We've combined the data collected at public transport interchanges, public housing estates and private estates, etc. Now, we need to put in data for the AI system to learn, and that is why we need to conduct trials again and again in order to achieve breakthroughs, and this is our goal. Thank you, President. Mr. Chan Hailong. Thank you, President. Autonomous driving is the trend. I'm happy to see that the government has actively taken forward the study and application of AVs. My concern is about insurance. Because of the complexity of the technology and the risks involved, insurers may impose harsher requirements on AVs, and the insurance premiums may as a result be higher. This poses a hurdle to the development of AVs. At the moment, CAP 374AA provides that the insurance policies for each AV should be submitted to the Commissioner for Transport that should cover each and every AV in a trial scheme. But this is only a temporary measure. Secretary, I want to know whether there is any plan to collect data from around the world, including the mainland, so that in terms of insurance for commercial vehicles, a better arrangements can be put in place in the future. President, thank you, Mr. Chan, for the questions. In terms of advanced technologies such as AV and low altitude economy, I think that matters such as safety is of utmost importance, especially in relation to insurance. We need to instill confidence in the public, and this is a major driver of the AV technology. That is why we're conducting trials. We want to keep things flexible, and we want to make sure that there is insurance coverage. We also want to be able to expand the trials to cover, to a certain extent, commercial operations. And in this sense, we don't want to create a deterrence to wider adoption to AV, and at the same time, we want to impose a higher insurance requirement. The third point is this. As I mentioned just now, the AV technology concerns not only transportation and logistics. The technology also involves the laws of Hong Kong, insurance, and the financial sector as well. And that is why we will be working with the different stakeholders such as the insurance authority and different sectors so that we can take a science-based, a data-based approach in mapping our way forward. We'll also be discussing with the sector so that we can apply AVs in Hong Kong in a safe and steady manner. And we will consider, of course, how insurance is to be introduced. Mr. Dominic Lee. Around the world, including the mainland, there is this major trend of AV development. The trials are underway, and in fact last year we joined a delegation visit to Hangzhou, and we also checked the relevant trial programs in Hangzhou. In Hong Kong, however, only 12 AVs were put to the test. As you mentioned, there are AVs applying Sha Tin and the Sha Tin Science Park and University Station. It seems that we are moving at snail's pace. Can you explain why? Is there any timeline? With Press Secretary. Thank you, President. Thank you, Mr. Lee. Now, you mentioned the Science Park trial project. It deploys the vehicle to everything technology. It involves a 3-lane roundabout. I mean, there are in fact 2 roundabouts to go through. This route is not easy, even for drivers. So, as I answered Mr. Gary ZHANG's question just now, as we take forward this North Lantau trial project to Tung Chung, we will not confine ourselves to just looking into V2X. We'll also consider other technologies. For example, more LiDAR and camera devices will be installed on an AV so as to collect data for the purpose of continuous learning. In fact, the AV currently being tried at the airport island can already maneuver 2 roundabouts. So we are working with relevant departments. We are going to combine the data collected and the technologies. Now, regarding this Science Park project, we do have a timetable. We envisage that things will be ready by the end of this year and the beginning of next year. And for applicants under the Smart Traffic Fund, they will be required to meet the KPIs.
Question to Mr. Jeffrey LAM. Thank you, President. In recent years, the government has been vigorously promoting the work on attracting enterprises and investments. It is learned that Invest Hong Kong assisted a total of 539 overseas and mainland enterprises in setting up or expanding their businesses in Hong Kong last year. In this connection, will the government inform this Council, 1. of the number of overseas and mainland enterprises which Invest Hong Kong has assisted in establishing a presence in Hong Kong or setting up regional headquarters in Hong Kong since January this year, the home countries of such enterprises as well as the industries to which they belong. 2. Of the policies and measures currently put in place by the government in respect of land, taxation, etc., to support overseas and mainland enterprises in establishing a presence in Hong Kong. And 3. Given that the Secretary for Labour and Welfare has pointed out at a special meeting of the Finance Committee of this Council, held to discuss the estimates of expenditure 2025-6, that Hong Kong Talent Engage, or HKTE, would provide comprehensive one-stop support to incoming talents. Of the total number of applications received by HKTE since January this year, among such applications, of the areas in which support has been provided. Thank you, President. Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development. President, after consulting the Development Bureau, the Financial Services and the Treasury Bureau, the Labour and Welfare Bureau, as well as the Office for Attracting Strategic Enterprises, or OASIS, my consolidated response to Mr. Jeffrey LAM's question is as follows. Invest Hong Kong is responsible for promoting inward direct investment to Hong Kong by attracting mainland and overseas enterprises to set up or expand in the city. In 2024, Invest Hong Kong assisted 539 mainland and overseas enterprises in establishing and expanding their businesses in Hong Kong, representing an increase of over 40% year-on-year. On a pro rata basis, the figure well exceeded the performance indicator set out in the 2022 policy address by the Chief Executive. On the other hand, the number of companies in Hong Kong with overseas or mainland parent companies in last year reached a record high of 9,960. It included 1,410 regional headquarters, an increase of over 5% year-on-year. From January to April this year, Invest Hong Kong assisted 223 mainland and overseas enterprises, representing an increase of 13% as compared with last year. These enterprises are expected to bring in direct investment of over $22.3 billion and create over 4,900 jobs within the first year of operations or expansion. Over one-fourth of these enterprises indicated that their setup of international or regional headquarters in Hong Kong. The top 5 places of origin of those enterprises are the mainland, the United States, Japan, the United Kingdom, and Singapore. And the top 5 sectors are the financial services and fintech sector, family office, innovation and technology sector, tourism and hospitality sector, and consumer product sector. Separately, the current term government established OASIS, which is directly under the Financial Secretary, to attract high potential and representative strategic innovation and technology enterprises from around the world. So far, OASIS successfully attracted 84 strategic enterprises, many of which plan to establish their international or regional headquarters in Hong Kong. Invest Hong Kong and OASIS provide mainland and overseas enterprises with one-stop customized support services, including introducing tax regime and tax concessions of Hong Kong, assisting enterprises in identifying premises for operations, and assisting them in following up on matters relating to talent emission. In terms of tax policy, Hong Kong has been practicing a simple, territorial-based and low-tax regime. Hong Kong's profit tax rates are very competitive internationally, with the first $2 million of profits of corporations taxed at the rate of 8.25%. And the profits above that amount taxed at 16.5%. Besides, tax types in Hong Kong are simple in that there is not any kind of capital gains tax, withholding tax on dividends or interest, estate duty, value-added tax, goods and services tax, nor digital services tax. The Hong Kong SAR government has also been strategically utilizing tax measures to facilitate the development of different industries. Tax concessions introduced over recent years have benefited multiple industries or taxpayers, including the assets and wealth management industry, maritime industry, insurance, and taxpayers with intellectual property income. In terms of assisting enterprises in identifying suitable premises, given the diverse backgrounds of enterprises, Invest Hong Kong and OASIS focus on understanding and catering to the different needs of individual enterprises. In respect of land supply, the DEVB has been collaborating with Invest Hong Kong and OASIS to introduce to mainland overseas enterprises interested in setting up in Hong Kong the distribution of existing and future economic land in the territory, including how the government will adopt an industry-led approach in planning strategic projects such as the Northern Metropolis. In particular, as each new development area in the Northern Metropolis has its own industry positioning, the next few years will see considerable outputs in development land and floor space for innovation and technology and other emerging industries, as well as industries with traditional strengths to move in. As for enterprises interested in setting up in Hong Kong and participating in the construction of buildings for industries, the DEVB will recommend development land for their consideration. It will also support relevant policy bureaus in exploring and adopting various modes of land disposal and land premium arrangements by giving consideration to restricted tender or direct land grants, in addition to the traditional practice of open tender. When the project enters the design and construction stages, the DEVB will also provide one-stop services by coordinating with relevant departments to expedite approvals. Apart from focusing on attracting enterprises and investment, the current term government is also dedicated to attracting talents from overseas and the mainland. Since its establishment on the 30th of October 2023, the Hong Kong Talent Engage strives to provide comprehensive one-stop support to talents. From January to April 2025, over 45,000 new applications under various talent division schemes were received, of which over 35,000 applications were approved. The support services provided by the HKTE to incoming talents and their families include the following. 1. Themed seminars. To cater for the needs of incoming talents, leaders from various industries and admitted talents were invited to share career information and tips on starting a business. Since its establishment and up to end of April this year, 35 online and offline themed seminars have been organized. 2. Job fairs. Job fairs help job-seeking talents to match with employers direct, so as to help incoming talents to look for jobs based on their skills, making better use of their professional competencies. As at the end of April this year, the HKTE has organized, co-organized, and participated in 17 job fairs in total. 3. Inquiry and support matching services. The online platform currently connects with about 90 designated working partners to provide talents with advice and services in respect of job matching, accommodation, education, banking and insurance services, business and corporate services, integrated settlement services, as well as networking and community through online matching services. The platform has processed over 41,000 inquiries, mainly involving matters such as talent schemes, visa, and job seeking, and made around 12,000 referrals of support service requests so far. 4. Integration activities. Participation in volunteer services allow incoming talents to strengthen their connections with the local community, thereby facilitating their better integration. At the end of April this year, the HKTE has organized, in collaboration with volunteer groups, 3 integration activities. And 5. Cantonese learning classes. The classes help enhance the Cantonese speaking and listening skills of incoming talents and assist them in understanding local culture and customs, thereby expediting their integration. By the end of April this year, 28 Cantonese learning classes were held. The government will continue to make every effort to attract more enterprises and talents from the mainland overseas. Mr. Jeffrey LAM. President, in terms of attracting enterprises and capital and investment, the government has done a lot of work, and it is evidence to all. Now, several days ago, I was in the delegation led by the chief executive to Qatar. Earlier on, I've also visited ASEAN countries and also Japan and South Korea. I think the results were admirable. Now, the U.S. has been expanding its hegemony under the banner of tariff. It is changing the geopolitical landscape and causing a storm. It is affecting the Hong Kong business sector. We have to be flexible and reposition ourselves. It is an opportune time to step up work to attract talents and businesses. And with the uncertainty in the global landscape, what strategies have the government formulated to attract enterprises and investments from more countries and places so as to prepare Hong Kong for the future? Secretary. Thank you, President, and thank you, Mr. Jeffrey LAM. Now, under the backdrop of a tariff and trade war, we will adhere to our position as a free port with zero tariff. We need to provide a certain and foreseeable operating environment for businesses so that entrepreneurs can continue to pursue growth in Hong Kong. And of course, we need to further give play to our unique advantages of being a bridge for the country and the world under one country, two systems. We will step up international interactions and deepen international cooperation. We will deepen connection with our traditional markets while tapping opportunities in emerging markets, especially those in the ASEAN, the Middle East, and Latin America, so as to expand our circle of friends. It is a time when many economies are looking to diverse the risk. With an innovative approach, we will attract foreign enterprises and investments to come to Hong Kong. We will adopt a new mindset in helping mainland enterprises to reposition themselves and adjust their layout in the world by offering them with supply chain management services. We can become a regional or world headquarters for these enterprises with our international connection. Now, earlier on, the chief executive announced 7 key measures for the above purposes involving financial services, trade and commerce, innovation and technology, the dual circulation, as well as transformation and upgrading of industries. I will not go into the details of those measures. The government will work with every stakeholder in Hong Kong to rise above this challenge. Thank you. Mr. Kenneth Lau. President, Now, with the international landscape at present, there are a lot of challenges. There is some softening of the tariff war, but we can't be complacent. We need to give full play to our role as a super connector and super value adder and strike proactively and turn crisis into opportunity. Now, to enhance the efficiency of our work to attract enterprises, we need to help the talents and entrepreneurs to establish their roots in Hong Kong. So, will the government establish a comprehensive database to analyze the challenges faced by incoming talents and entrepreneurs and provide them with tailor-made help? Secretary. Thank you. Now, Invest Hong Kong, after attracting overseas businesses to Hong Kong, they will continue to provide follow-up services, including helping them to expand their presence in Hong Kong, and also the pain points or the specific challenges they face in Hong Kong. There is an interdepartmental task force for addressing these problems. If there are any inquiries or cases, we welcome any referrals. Thank you. Mr. Cheng Kin-po. Thank you, President. If we can attract foreign enterprises to establish regional headquarters in Hong Kong, it will bring along capital and jobs. Besides, they would be exposed. They would give a lot of exposure to our local talents for working in these international organizations. So in terms of attracting enterprises to set up regional headquarters in Hong Kong, what are the strategies? Secretary. Thank you, President, and thank you, Mr. Chen. Now, with the TDC and Invest Hong Kong, in December last year, a mechanism for helping high value-added enterprises was established. They are striving for mainland overseas enterprises to establish a regional headquarters in Hong Kong to manage their offshore businesses. So in the process of going global, there are various pain points like financing, market access, and international standards like ESG standards alignment. Now, this service mechanism brings together other members in the government, for example, the HKECIC as well as the Productivity Council. By harnessing our experience in international business, we are helping these mainland and overseas enterprises by providing them with one-stop services. Mr. Gary Chan, Ronnie Chan. Thank you. According to the main reply, the top 5 places of origin of enterprises in the first half of the year does not include the Middle East. Now, the culture as well as the trade legislations and rules in the Middle East and Hong Kong are very different. So will there be differential strategies established just for attracting Middle Eastern enterprises in Hong Kong so that they will rank among the top 5 places of origin of our enterprises? Secretary, thank you. By way of figures, now actually I agree with Mr. Ronnie Chan. The Middle Eastern market is very important for Hong Kong with significant potential. As mentioned in my main reply, among the 539 enterprises attracted to Hong Kong last year, 66 were from the Belt and Road countries, and among them, 15% are from the Middle Eastern markets. Now, concerning the trade volume, in 2024, compared with the previous year, there was an increase of 9.2% in terms of trade volume. So I agree with Mr. Ronnie Chan. We need more targeted strategies. Now, the Invest Hong Kong has established a thematic website in Arabic, and we have also recruited locals in the Middle Eastern markets to help us enhance the efficiency of our work. Besides, in this term of the government, the chief executive has made 2 visits to the Middle Eastern markets. Now, in the recent trip to Kuwait and Qatar, significant achievements have been made. And also our local entrepreneurs, Hong Kong entrepreneurs, are also very active in the Middle Eastern market. So in the future, we hope that there will be more interactions on the government level and among entrepreneurs. Mr. Michael Lee, President, the Chief Executive and many principal officials have led delegations to emerging markets and attract enterprises and investments to Hong Kong. Now, Hong Kong is well positioned as a springboard because we are a gateway for the country. Now, in foreign markets like the Middle East, we don't know their language and there are cultural barriers. So will the ETOs in these places establish one-stop service centers to help our entrepreneurs in terms of education and also hold organized job fairs and exhibitions. Secretary, thank you. Now we are opening an ETO in Saudi Arabia, so these works will be followed by the ETO. And before that, we have an ETO in Dubai as well. Now, as mentioned by Mr. Michael Lee, the ETO colleagues, as well as colleagues under the Invest Hong Kong and the dedicated teams for attracting businesses and enterprises, will provide help. So for those who are interested in the Middle Eastern market, we can provide help by referring your case to the ETO offices. Mr. Sunny Tan. Thank you, President. I was also in the delegation led by the Chief Executive to Qatar. In the trip, we met with many business leaders. We saw much opportunities in terms of providing our professional services to our mainland businesses to help them align with international standards and help them find application scenarios in INT. However, we need to collaborate with governmental bodies or semi-governmental bodies in the mainland to start to provide them with help from the very beginning. So what is the collaboration mechanism? Secretary. Now, there is a standing communication mechanism between Invest Hong Kong and the counterparts in those markets. So in terms of discussion for collaboration opportunities, these can be conducted via the communication mechanism. As the member mentioned just now, the CE has just returned from the Middle East. Now, the trip has three objectives, being establishing a relationship between the governments, two, enhancing the exposure to our local businesses, and three, establishing a communication mechanism. Now, many memorandum of understandings have been signed in many professional services field, including legal services and other areas. Now, we will continue to follow up on these MOUs, and through the communication mechanism I mentioned, we can continue to elevate the standard of our collaboration. Dr. So Jiang-Wing, President. A week ago, the director of Invest Hong Kong attended an interview on a radio channel. That's Ms. Alpha Lau. Now, she said that there is crisis under the U.S. containment of the country, but there is also opportunity. This is encouraging. So what opportunity has been brought by the tariff war initiated by the U.S.? So how is the Hong Kong SAR government taking the initiative to exploit these opportunities? Secretary. Thank you, President. In my reply to Mr. Jeffrey LAM, I mentioned that with the tariff war ongoing, the trade environment is uncertain. Many mainland and overseas enterprises need to diverse the risk and tap more markets, so there is huge opportunity. As I mentioned, there is an interdepartmental task force established under the Invest Hong Kong and TDC to provide services for mainland enterprises. And also, overseas and mainland enterprises and investors need to diverse the risk. So we are adopting a new mindset and new approach to attract these enterprises to come to Hong Kong. Thank you.
Question 3, Mr. Jimmy Ng. Thank you, President. It is learned that with the ever-growing demand for electric vehicles charging facilities in recent years, the government will launch the Fast Charger Incentive Scheme to subsidize the installation of fast charging facilities by the private sector. Furthermore, the community also hopes that more fast chargers can be provided on government premises. In this connection, will the government inform this council? 1. Given that the government is retrofitting about 7,000 additional parking spaces on government premises with chargers, of the progress of such works and the number of quick chargers to be retrofitted, whether it will launch a new scheme to install quick chargers on government premises, if so, of the details, if not, the reasons for that. 2. Given that the EV Charging at Home Subsidy Scheme, or EHSS, which subsidizes the installation of EV chargers in car parks of private housing estate, has ceased to accept applications since the end of 2023, whether the government will inject further funding to relaunch the EHSS, if so, of the details, if not, the reasons for that. And 3, whether it will increase the amount of subsidy under the incentive scheme to encourage commercial organizations to install fast chargers in districts with fewer EV chargers, so that chargers will be more evenly distributed among the 18 districts across the territory, if so, of the details, if not, the reasons for that. Secretary for Environment and Ecology. President, to improve air quality and reduce carbon emissions, the government is committed to promoting the use of electric vehicles, or EVs. In recent years, Hong Kong has achieved remarkable results in popularizing EVs. There were 14,000 EVs 5 years ago. As at the end of last year, we had 8 times as many, at 110,000 EVs. Currently, about 7 out of every 10 newly registered private cars are electric. A charging network is very important in promoting the popularization of EVs. It will be most convenient for electric private cars and light vehicles to be charged at the car owner's residence, workplace, or frequently visited parking spaces. Due to their longer parking time, fast charging is not essential. As for commercial EVs, such as electric taxis, a quick or even fast charging network is needed. As at March 2023, Hong Kong had nearly 100,000 parking spaces with charging infrastructure. There were 11,180 public charging facilities, of which about 2,000 were quick or fast charging facilities. We will maintain a multi-pronged approach to increase charging facilities. The work includes converting conventional petrol filling stations into fast charging stations or retrofitting PFSs with fast charging facilities, etc. My response to Mr. Jimmy Ng's 3 questions are as follows. 1. The Chief Executive's 2022 policy address proposed to provide charging facilities in 7,000 additional parking spaces on government premises. As at March 2025, 4,158 chargers had been installed. Relevant departments have reviewed the progress of the remaining works, and the target can be achieved by the end of this year. The government adds EV charging facilities to its car parks, mainly to facilitate charging of EVs parked there. Vehicles parked in car parks generally have a longer time to charge. The cost of fast chargers is much higher than that of medium chargers. To make optimal use of resources, the EV charging facilities currently added to government car parks are mainly medium chargers. Among the 4,158 chargers, there are 27 quick or fast chargers, which are mainly used as pure charging spaces rather than parking spaces. 2. The EV Charging at Home Subsidy Scheme, or EHSS, was launched in October in 2020 in 2 phases with a total funding subsidy of $3.5 billion. The Environmental Protection Department completed the vetting of all applications in the first quarter of 2024 with a total of 724 applications approved. as at the end of April 2025, 42,020 parking spaces had completed the installation of EV charging infrastructure. The number of parking spaces with installation works completed is expected to increase to about 77,000 by the end of this year. When the EHSS concludes by the end of the 2027 to 28 financial year, EV charging infrastructure will be installed in about 140,000 parking spaces in the car parks of existing private residential buildings or housing estates. In order to prepare for the large-scale use of EVs in the future, the government began as early as in 2011 to encourage the installation of EV charging infrastructure in parking spaces in newly built private housing estates by tightening the exemption of calculating the gross floor area of buildings. To date, more than 93,700 relevant parking spaces have been approved. Together with the EHSS, it is estimated that more than 200,000 private building parking spaces will be equipped with charging infrastructure by mid-2027. As the number of EVs increases, there are already services in the market to install EV charging facilities in housing estates, so there is no need to inject funds to extend the EHSS. 3. There are currently 169 petrol filling stations across Hong Kong, with the number varying significantly from one district to another. For example, there are 26 such stations in Yuen Long, which is about 9 times as many as in Tsuen Wan, which has just 3. Hong Kong is not a huge city, and today's fuel vehicles can refuel across districts with no difficulty. For EV users, it is more practical to increase charging facilities as soon as possible. Therefore, the government's strategy at this stage is to make the most use of the market in installing fast chargers as soon as possible, provide EV users with greater ease, and at the same time promote market competition to keep the price of EV charging at a reasonable level. In this regard, the Environment and Ecology Bureau has set up an interdepartmental working group to coordinate matters so as to resolve difficulties encountered by various parties in setting up charging facilities with a view to expanding Hong Kong's EV charging network as soon as possible. In addition, to help EV drivers find the most convenient location to charge their vehicles, we will provide real-time information on public charging facilities through various mobile applications. The Chief Executive's 2024 policy address announced that the government would earmark $300 million for a fast-charging facility incentive scheme, with the target of providing 3,000 fast chargers to support an extra 160,000 EVs. It is expected that all fast chargers will be put into service gradually from 2026 to the end of 2028. We consulted the panel on environmental affairs of the Legislative Council on the scheme on the 20th of January this year and further optimized the relevant arrangements in response to members' views. This includes simplifying the application procedures to reduce administrative costs and shorten approval time. Under the scheme, each newly installed fast charger can receive a subsidy of $100,000, and each applicant can receive a maximum subsidy of $20 million, covering up to 200 chargers. The applicants are required to arrange land and electricity supply on their own and bear the relevant costs. Subsidized fast chargers must provide electronic payment options and adopt an energy-based fee charging model. In addition, subsidized organizations are required to provide real-time information on the usage of these chargers and charging fees, and to purchase public liability insurance. We are now finalizing the implementation details of the scheme. We expect to launch it next month and start accepting applications from that point onward. Thank you, President. Mr. Jimmy Ng. As the President said, back in 2024, for every 10 newly registered cars, 7 were electric vehicles. So we can see EVs will be the mainstay in the future. The government once said that it is technically feasible to install medium chargers on street-side parking spaces. And the government also said once we have enough EVs, there will be EV chargers at street-side chargers and smart lamp posts. When will this scheme be launched? Secretary. We thank the member for his question. From the main reply, we can see that we have our focus on a few areas. 1, installing chargers in parking spaces, and also finding space to install fast chargers. So fast chargers will be the backbone of public charging facilities. That's the best use of land. A single fast charger can support roughly 50 EVs. But a parking space with chargers can only work for a few vehicles. And when it's a private parking space, each charger can only serve one vehicle. So we have many vehicles, but we are short of parking spaces. And we're short of street-side parking spaces as well. So putting chargers in street-side parking spaces is not a priority. Otherwise, people hog the parking space just to charge their cars, and then people will have an even harder time securing a parking space. So our work now is to put chargers in car parks and also creating a network of fast chargers. EVs make up roughly 10% of our cars across Hong Kong. When the majority of our cars in the city are EVs, then we can put chargers in street-side parking spaces, but that won't happen in the next couple of years. Mr. Ma Fung Kwok. In business district, chargers are heavily used, but those chargers are left idle overnight. For residential areas, it's the other way around. So will we adopt time of use rate for chargers so that we encourage more people to use chargers in business districts at night? Will we learn from overseas experience? So will we open up our government chargers to the public so that we make the most of the chargers on government premises and we can take pressure off the chargers in residential areas? Secretary. I thank the member for his question. Indeed, time of use rate for chargers is a good idea. The demand for chargers may be smaller at night, so people can make greater use during those hours. And we can also balance the need or the demand on the power from our power companies. And this can also help lower the power tariffs for power companies. So in January, we talked to our power companies, and they're exploring ways to charge different rates when people charge at different times of the day. Once the power companies have the details, they will make an announcement. Mr. Chu Pok Kang. Now, close to my heart is the installation of chargers at schools. The Education Bureau has internal guidelines on processing such applications, but some schools have approached me recently. They told me about the difficulty about applying for such chargers. The school said government departments asked for professional certification, showing that the installation of chargers would not be against the land lease. So the schools asked what sort of professional qualifications, what sort of professionals, and then the departments refused to give an answer. So the matter was held up. So schools could not install the chargers. Schools only want guidelines and circulars. Why do those relevant departments and bureaus refuse to provide the guidelines, and why do they refuse to provide one-stop support? Secretary. We're in talks with the Education Bureau about this matter. They support the installation of chargers at schools. They give assistance. In particular cases, difficulties may have come up for schools. Mr. Chu is welcome to share the case details with us so that we can follow up. So, any organization struggling to install chargers, we will look at it and try to help. Mr. Eric Yim. Now, people are taking a growing interest in new energy vehicles, but then it takes time to build chargers. Will the government consider encouraging public car parks to bring in mobile chargers, so a single mobile charger can serve 5 or even more than 5 cars? doing that will require a large upfront investment. So will the government consider providing resources to support this idea? Secretary. President, on the use and charging of EVs, new technologies keep entering the picture. There are mobile chargers. And we have also seen battery replacement services. So we are technology neutral in our stance. We want more chargers. The more, the merrier. We also look out for solutions on the market. We give assistance to all kinds of technologies out there. The member's question is about the new mobile charging facilities. The member wondered if the government can offer funding support when the prices are high. So the government does have this new energy transport fund. If we think the technology is worth a trial in Hong Kong, if we think the technology can play a role, interested parties are welcome to apply to this new energy transport fund. And then we can consider whether to give funding support. Mr. Ka-piu. Now, more and more people are driving their cars and head to the mainland, and we are also expecting Guangdong vehicles to come here to Hong Kong. So there will be different kinds of chargers. They will be needed. So the specs, the standards of chargers vary. The mainland has its standard. Overseas countries have their own. So in terms of the compatibility of chargers of different standards, will the government look into this to make life easier for motorists in the future? Secretary. So I want to discuss this matter about the different standards of chargers, which is a complex matter. Now, for most EVs in Hong Kong, they adopt the EU standard. The mainland adopts the national standard, known as the GB standard. But when the mainland EV firms sell cars to Hong Kong, those cars come with the European standard. That's because in Hong Kong, we are a right-hand drive city, whereas the mainland is a left-hand drive place. So when the mainland makes right-hand drive cars, they are trying to sell those cars to places, right-hand drive places, and those places adopt the European standards. So Hong Kong, being a right-hand drive place, will have a hard time adopting the national or GB standards because right-hand drive EVs don't adopt the national standard or GB standard, and left-hand drive cars do not adopt the European standard. Alongside the GB standard and the European standard, there are other standards. So for all these varying standards, there are adapters to fix the problem. That's why, for newly built fast charging stations, those chargers need to serve and be compatible for European standard EVs. Those chargers also need to be compatible with EVs on our national standard. So that should fix the problem. In the long run, though, we do have to consider the convergence of Hong Kong's EV charging standards and those of the mainland. So we have started talks with the relevant authorities in the mainland. We want to discuss the future development of our country's charging standards. As we are getting faster and faster chargers, our country is also looking at charging standards. The mainland will also be exploring changes to the technical standards when it comes to faster chargers. So on aligning EV charging standards, we have started the talks It will take us a while to talk to our country about how we can achieve alignment of EV charging standards. But now, adapters offer a workaround. So when mainland or Guangdong cars come to Hong Kong, there is a way for those mainland EVs to get charged at the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. Mr. Luk Chung Hong. Hong Kong is the best place for EVs. We are a small city, our winter isn't too cold, and our fuel costs and charging fees are affordable. I support a new government policy, and that's the $300 million to install fast chargers. So I'm looking at the main reply. The operators will have to adopt an energy-based pricing model. But I want to follow up on this point. Say you have a charger for taxis. There are caps on the fees. And since we're using public money to subsidize the installation of chargers by private operators, shouldn't we be restricting the fees? We want to guard against excessive fees. That's to make sure the burden isn't too heavy on motorists, and we don't want idle chargers. A more transparent model can be achieved when you make it clear the portions for the service charge and the power charge. Secretary, we have this $300 million incentive scheme so that we can create this fast charging network. It's $300 million, but for each charger, it's only $100,000. To build a fast charger, the cost can be more than $100,000. It can be $200,000 or $300,000. And once you factor in the construction fee, the cost can be up to $1 million. So the $100,000 in subsidy makes up only a small portion of the overall cost of building a fast charger. But we are offering this incentive, and we have created a panel to help those operators. This is to show government support for such developments. So many businesses said they would get involved, they would install such fast chargers in Hong Kong. If we add restrictions on this matter, that may not be helpful if our goal is to have more fast chargers. When you have more chargers, you get market competition, and that will ensure the prices stay at a reasonable level. We think we are already taking an appropriate approach.
Question 4, Mr. Gary ZHANG. Thank you, President. It has been reported that the passenger throughput at Hong Kong International Airport, Hong Kong IA, reached 5.28 million in January this year, with an average daily passenger throughput of over 170,000. However, there are views pointing out that the existing VIP lounge services set up by airlines or enterprises Hong Kong IA are unable to meet the demand, resulting in chronic queues. In this connection, will the government inform this council whether it knows, 1, the current number of VIP lounges in Hong Kong IA, as well as the respective average daily number of passengers served and maximum capacity, floor area, and year of opening, whether the Airport Authority Hong Kong AHK will consider allowing enterprises to reestablish VIP lounges on the arrivals level in response to the increased passenger throughput due to the expansion of the Hong Kong IA. If so, of the details, if not, the reasons for that, and 2, the number of additional VIP lounges planned to be provided in the Hong Kong IA Terminal 1 in the next 5 years. Together with their respective area target average daily number of passengers to be served and maximum capacity, the eligibility criteria, approval standards, procedures, and time required for applications to establish or expand VIP lounges. And 3, the number of VIP lounges planned to be established after the expansion of Hong Kong IA's Terminal 2, the respective location area target average daily number of passengers to be served and maximum capacity of these VIP lounges and their opening dates. Secretary for Transport and Logistics. President, Hong Kong is an international aviation hub. This positioning is recognized in the National 14th Five-Year Plan and the Outline Development Plan for the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area (GBA). To this end, the government of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, Hong Kong SAR, and the Airport Authority Hong Kong, HKHK, have been taking measures to continuously enhance the strengths and competitiveness of Hong Kong International Airport, Hong Kong IA. With regard to passenger services, the efficiency of airport operations and passenger experience are keys to success. Taking into account the large number of passengers who are of different backgrounds and with different travel purposes received by the airport every day, the AAHK has been providing a wide range of facilities and services at Hong Kong IA and has been continuously reviewing and striving to improve them to cater for the needs of different groups of passengers. In particular, to cater for the needs of high-end and business travelers, the AAHK has reserved locations in the passenger terminal building of Hong Kong IA for airlines or other corporations to set up and operate lounges in accordance with the market demand and commercial modes, with a view to providing travelers with a more superior and comfortable travel experience. With regard to the matters relating to the lounges in question, having consulted the AAHK, my reply is as follows. 1. At present, there are 17 lounges at Hong Kong IA, including 9 lounges operated by airlines for use by designated passengers of the airlines and their alliances, and 8 lounges operated by other non-airline corporations which are open to passengers on a pay-per-visit basis or on other prescribed modes. These lounges, which first started operation in 1998, range in size from less than 200 square meters to over 6,000 square meters. The location, size, and establishment year of each lounge are set out at Annex. As regards the service capacity, the 17 lounges mentioned above can receive a total of about 22,000 visitors per day on average, and are currently receiving about 16,000 visitors per day. As the number of visitors received by each individual lounge involve commercially sensitive information of the operators, the AAHK is not positioned to provide such information. Taking into account the fact that departing or transfer passengers generally prefer to stay in the restricted area of the airport for a longer period of time to wait for boarding and departure, and that most arriving passengers leave the airport for the urban area expeditiously upon the arrival in Hong Kong, the AAHK has mainly reserved spaces for lounges on the departure level of the restricted area to cater for the needs of passengers waiting for their flights. At present, all the 17 lounges at Hong Kong IA are located on the departures level of the restricted area of Terminal 1 for use by departing or transit passengers. That said, in view of the demand of some arriving passengers for lounge services, there were previously 2 lounges in the original Terminal 2. The AAHK has reserved spaces for re-establishing 2 lounges in the arrival halls of the expanded Terminal 2. The proposed lounges will be located outside the restricted area and adjacent to Terminal 1, which will facilitate the reception of passengers arriving via other terminals. Regarding parts 2 and 3 to the question, with the increasing number of high-end passengers, the AAHK has been maintaining communication with airlines and other related corporations and negotiating with airlines and other corporations interested in setting up, expanding, and refurbishing lounges on the leasing arrangements, as well as the related operational details so as to ensure that the facilities of the airport lounges can meet the demand of passengers. With regard to Terminal 1, the AAHK has received and approved expansion plans for 2 lounges currently operated by airlines, with their areas to be increased by about 4,200 square meters. One of the lounges will be refurbished and expanded within this year and will reopen in 2027, while the other will commence expansion works in 2028 and reopen in 2030. Meanwhile, The AAHK has reserved another 3 locations on the departures level for the operation of new lounges and is in discussion with a number of airlines with a view to bringing the lounges into operation progressively from this year onwards. The total area of the 3 lounges is about 2,300 square meters. For the expanded Terminal 2 and the Terminal 2 Concourse T2C, the AAHK is now working with its business partners on the preparatory work and will commission the lounges in phases in accordance with passenger demand. Of them, the above-mentioned 2 lounges at the arrivals hall, with a total area of about 1,000 square meters, are expected to come into service in phases to tie in with the phased opening of Terminal 2 from the end of this year. The AAHK has also reserved spaces on the departures level for 7 lounges, with a total area of about 6,000 square meters, which will come into operation gradually to tie in with the opening of T2C. President, apart from continuously improving and upgrading airport facilities such as lounges, we have also adopted a multi-pronged approach to enhance the passenger experience at the airport, which includes adopting a number of measures such as increasing efficiency through the use of innovation technology, enhancing the customer service standard of airport staff, and increasing the variety of shopping and dining options at the airport, with a view to providing passengers with a more comfortable and convenient services. Thank you. Mr. Gary ZHANG. Thank you. As mentioned in my question, there are chronic queues during peak seasons at the airport. According to the main reply, we have about 26,000 square feet of VIP lounges, and we are going to increase 16,000 square meters of VIP lounges. That increase of about 50%. We received about 53 million passengers last year, and in 2030 we are going to receive 97 million, and in 2035 we're going to receive 150 million passengers. However, with the area increase of VIP lounges, it's only 15%. How are you going to cope with the increase in the number of passengers that we're going to receive in the future? Secretary, thank you for the question. As we are preparing for the commissioning of the 3 one-way systems, and we expect that the number of passengers we receive will continue to rise, we will work with the AAHK to monitor the use of the VIP lounges, and we will look into the background of the passengers using the lounges and the flight routes that they take. We do have a plan to expand the VIP lounges and refurbish them. We also plan to have new ones. Some lounges may be operated by airlines, some may be operated by credit card companies or other corporations. The passengers that they serve may be different, and the time when people use these lounges may also vary. So we cannot just use the number of passengers that we receive to plan for our VIP lounges. We have to be flexible. We will definitely look into the demand of these high-end travelers in using VIP lounges, and we will reserve spaces at the newly commissioned terminal to provide such services. Mr. Rock Chan. Thank you, President. As Hong Kong is trying to attract visitors from the Middle East and ASEAN countries, when we have more of these visitors come, will the government work with the AAHK to provide services that meet their needs? Are we going to have, say, praying room in VIP lounges? Are we going to have halal food served there? Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Chan, for the question. We have visitors coming from all around the world. We try our best to cater to their needs. For visitors coming from the Middle East, as we serve them, we try to use their language in terms of food and praying needs. we will cater to their demand as well. We've talked to the AHK. We have reserved praying rooms at not only the VIP lounges but also other areas in the airport. In order to tailor to the needs of high-end travelers, should we provide also praying room in VIP lounges? We will talk to the board of the AHK and follow up on that. As regards food, apart from providing food with characteristics, our airport is very international. We have a lot of transit passengers. I believe that they also need a diversified food. So that passengers from all around the world can try out food from different countries. Thank you. Mr. Shang Hailong. Thank you, President. Some friends in the business sector told me that their experience in the Hong Kong airport has worsened. So I hope that we can create this impression that Hong Kong is a friendly city by offering great services at the VIP lounges and enhance people's immigration experience. I know that there are 150 companies waiting to be listed at the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. I hope that we can enhance visitors' experience by offering directors of these companies planning to list in Hong Kong great services at the VIP lounges. Secretary, thank you. We have VIP lounges operated by airlines and corporations. The Hong Kong International Airport also has a new VIP lounge with a V's. At the VIP lounge, we are going to offer security check, luggage check-in service for these passengers. We help them book vehicles to designated places in the city, such as conference and exhibition centers. We offer a one-stop service to these passengers. Hong Kong is an international financial center. There are many enterprises. They could be listed companies or companies with such a plan to list in Hong Kong that come. We also have high-end business travelers. We will work with the AHK and other partners to offer VIP lounge and high-end service to these passengers. Dr. Ho Lee. Thank you, President. The airport has been improving the level of service that provide to our passengers and visitors. In the main reply of the administration, I see that the VIP lounges are mostly operated by airlines and credit card companies, for example. They have a fixed group of customers that they target. What about other passengers? Some people may not be certain users of some credit cards. They just want a more comfortable service and luxurious travel experience at the airport. Do we have such a service for people, say, traveling to the Greater Bay Area? Secretary. To enhance visitors' experience at the airport, well, this is essential in maintaining our position as an international logistics and aviation hub. With the increasing number of passengers, we have been improving our customs clearance and immigration declarations. According to the Skytrack passenger survey result, the Immigration Department actually won the Best Service Award. So we will work with different government departments and the AAHK to offer customs clearance facilitation service to passengers, not only ones using VIP lounges. We offer different types of service. For passengers not using VIP lounges operated by airlines, if they have any special needs, we will accommodate them. For frequent travelers to Hong Kong, they may have made special arrangement with the immigration department. They can use self-check-in kiosks at the airport. The AAHK also has put in place face recognition technology to facilitate immigration service and luggage check-in service. All these services available to all types of passengers, not just those using the VIP lounges. Ms. Chen Yuming. Thank you, President. The government is encouraging more passengers and visitors to come, including transit passengers. There are KOLs who filmed their experience staying overnight in Hong Kong airport. Many VIP lounges actually close at midnight. Only 1 to 2 lounges operate 24 hours a day. As we are trying to attract transit passengers to come to Hong Kong, we don't have any service during the small hours, however, for these transit passengers if they choose not to leave the airport. We have to cater to their needs, and we have to improve the service that we offer during the small hours. Secretary. The Hong Kong International Airport does not only cater to departing and arriving passengers, we also serve transit passengers. Some airports in the Middle East or neighboring countries are also trying to trial for transit passengers. After transit passengers have arrived in Hong Kong, as they are waiting for their flight, should we not extend our operating hours at the VIP lounges or canteens, restaurants, retail shops? I think that this is a great suggestion. I will talk to the AHK and we will look into it. As the 3 runway systems have been commissioned, as our passenger facilities will be commissioned by phases by the end of this year, the expanded T2C is going to be commissioned very soon, and we will have new flight routes departing at the expanded Terminal 2. The departure hours may be off the regular schedule of passengers. We will take that into account. We try to also offer service during off-peak hours. Thank you.
多謝主席。
Question 5, Mr. Steven HO. Thank you. It has been reported that a number of coastal provinces in the mainland have set up interdepartmental coordination groups led by provincial governors to coordinate policies. However, there are views that the development of marine economy in Hong Kong is piecemeal without top-level planning. In this connection, will the government inform this council? 1. As there are views that marine economy involves various areas and it is difficult for a single policy to coordinate interdepartmental resources, whether the government will make reference to the approach of the mainland and set up a dedicated team led by officials at the decision-making level to coordinate the development. If so, of the details and the implementation timetable. If not, reason for that. 2. As there are views that the existing policy focusing on regulation may hinder the development of marine economy, how the government will promote the development of maritime industries, for example, break new ground in terms of legislative amendments, policies, as well as cross-boundary cooperation and coordination. And 3. Apart from the 3 tourism projects currently taken forward by the Development Bureau under the large-scale land disposal approach, whether the government will consider selecting more islands and coastal areas with potential for tourism development to implement the large-scale land disposal approach on a trial basis so as to bring in social capital in infrastructure development and operation, thereby enhancing the competitiveness of marine tourism in Hong Kong. Secretary for Environment and Ecology. President. International organizations and individual economies have different definitions for marine economy, and there is no global standard on which industries fall under the scope of marine economy. Having compared the industry classification of mainland's marine economy with those in the Hong Kong Standard Industrial Classification 2.0 compiled by the Hong Kong Census and Statistics Department and other industry classifications, the government economists consider that marine economy-related activities in Hong Kong can be broadly categorized into the following 6 categories. 1. Maritime transport and port industry. 2. Marine tourism. 3. Marine utilization, extraction, production, and related manufacturing. 4. Wholesale and retail of marine products. 5. Marine public administration and social services. And 6. Marine scientific research, technology, and information services. One of the categories, maritime transportation and port industry, includes port, shipping, and maritime commercial services. In 2022, this sector contributed 4.2% to Hong Kong's GDP and accounted for 2.1% of total employment. Besides, marine utilization, extraction, production, and related manufacturing, along with wholesale and retail of marine products, are partially related to capture fisheries and mariculture. According to data from the AFCD, Agriculture, Fishery and Conservation Department, the local capture fisheries and mariculture production in 2023 was approximately 87,000 tons, with a total value of about $2.4 billion, estimated to contribute less than 0.1% to our GDP. As for the remaining 3 categories, their value-added contributions could not be estimated due to limited data. Having consulted the Deputy Financial Secretary, the Transport and Logistics Bureau TLB, Culture, Sports and Tourism Bureau CSTB, the Innovation, Technology and Industry Bureau ITIB, and the Development Bureau, my consolidated reply to the question is as follows. 1. Given the extensive scope of marine economy, which covers a diverse range of industries and development models, multiple policy bureaus and departments, BDs, are responsible for related areas. Relevant BDs attach importance on these developments, have formulated and implemented strategies, action plans, or blueprints accordingly. Each policy bureau and department, in accordance with their functions, introduces targeted measures to advance the development of these areas under its purview, which are in line with the overarching policy direction, strategies, and pace of development. This approach fosters synergies between marine economy development strategies and other initiatives within the BDs, thereby more effectively achieving their policy objectives. The government believes that the current approach suits Hong Kong's circumstances. BDs will continue to review the development direction and progress of their respective areas, working collectively to drive growth. The government will also monitor progress and, if necessary, explore ways to optimize the development approach. 2. The development of marine economy in Hong Kong does not focus on regulations only. For example, the TLB has been promoting the development of Hong Kong as an international maritime center and has been collaborating with the industry to implement measures under the Action Plan on Maritime and Port Development Strategy, including strengthening regional collaboration and global connectivity to attract new cargo sources to Hong Kong ports, while driving the port's digitalization, greening, and adoption of smart technologies, enhancing tax incentives, and introducing a half-tax concession for commodity traders, strengthening the high-quality reputation of Hong Kong ship registration, elevating the prominence of the Hong Kong Maritime Week, and attracting international organizations to host maritime events in Hong Kong. On maritime services, apart from enforcing the law to ensure marine safety, the Marine Department also endeavors to make maritime services more convenient, for example, allowing the use of e-certificates instead of paper ones for ship-related matters. The department also maintains close liaison in collaboration with mainland maritime authorities at all levels. On marine tourism, the CSDB put forward in the development blueprint for Hong Kong's tourism industry 2.0 to make better use of Hong Kong's rich island and coastline tourism resources. As such, the CSDB encourages development of more diverse tourism products with special characteristics and is ready to study possible removal of restrictions in statutory and regulatory requirements. The CSDB actively promotes island tourism and large-scale resort projects on ecotourism, as well as continues to consolidate Hong Kong's position as Asia's hub for international cruise by promoting cruise tourism. The ITIB is dedicated to enhancing Hong Kong's innovation and technology ecosystem with a view to supporting different technology industries, including marine technology in various areas, including capital research and development, supporting tech startups and talent. At present, Hong Kong has one state laboratory of marine pollution, contributing to the protection and management of the environment. On the fisheries front, the Environment and Ecology Bureau (EEB) and AFCD are actively taking forward initiatives under the Blueprint for the Sustainable Development of Agriculture and Fisheries, including designation of 4 new fish culture zones as well as introduction of modernized facilities to support mariculture, explore the relaxation of requirements to promote development of leisure fisheries, and strengthen cooperation with the mainland. To enhance the competitiveness of local products, the AFCD plans to set up a unified new brand for safe, low-carbon and premium local products, and to establish production standards, farming methods, as well as certification and traceability system for these products. The AFCD will continue to actively participate in activities in the GBA to promote quality products. In addition, the AFCD has designated 3 new marine parks in the past 5 years and has also formulated new management strategies in marine parks and implemented ecological enhancement measures. 3. The Development Bureau is taking forward 3 projects under large-scale land disposal located on islands and coastal locations, and in April this year invited expression of interest for these projects. Besides, the Development Bureau recently has also proposed to provide marina and land sporting facilities at 2 waterside areas, that is, one in Hong Kong and one in Aberdeen. As to whether there are other sites for large-scale land disposal, the Development Bureau will listen to different views and draw reference from experience of the 3 projects. Mr. Steven HO. Part of the main reply talks about measures of the government. They are just band-aid measures. In relation to electronic certifications of the Marine Department, I don't think there is a need for me to spend my time on this point. Well, the total product in 2024, the total value of output in $10 trillion, it has increased by 0.9% points compared to previous years. There was a year-on-year increase of 5.9%. However, in Hong Kong, there is no data for 3 segments. I'm not saying that there is no importance attached to this area, but there is not enough importance. Shouldn't there be a better interdepartmental coordination groups, as said in my question, to coordinate the work instead of there will be a pragmatic approach for individual bureaus and policies to remove restrictions. Well, without changes, it will be very difficult to take anything forward. With the development, do it in this way. Don't tell me that there is a well-established mechanism in place. We are looking for higher effectiveness and efficiency. I have said in my main reply that the marine economy covers many different industries. There are various policy bureaus and departments in charge of different purviews. Each department and bureau attach importance on the marine economy. They have formulated action plans, development blueprints, as well as initiatives. We want to promote the development of this economy. The current approach creates synergies between the marine economy and various initiatives within the BDs. Using my bureau as an example, we promote the development of fisheries industry, which is part of the marine economy. We have the Development Fund for Fisheries. We work with fishermen's associations and groups. We also work with mainland authorities. There is a cooperation mechanism in place. We all work together to promote development. So there is a synergy created using the existing initiatives in addition to an overall development. We will continue with our current approach. We think that it is suitable to Hong Kong's situation. Of course, we will keep in view development in different areas. If necessary, we will look into possible new approaches. Mr. Lam Sang-kang, at the end of last year, just a few months ago, there is a new photovoltaic platform, the first ever facility in the southern area of Shandong. The completion of the facility was completed just a few months ago. So, in addition to using tourism and fisheries industry to promote marine economy, are there suitable policies to identify locations to install photovoltaic panels and various facilities to generate energy from wind and water, thereby promoting green energy development at the same time? We encourage the development of renewable energies. We have explored possibilities to generate such industries in water bodies, say for example, reservoirs, river courses. We use floating facilities to generate energy. In Hong Kong waters, there are also projects of electricity companies harvesting renewable energy. I think it is more important to find the right approach to generate maximum effectiveness and cost effectiveness. Just now, Mr. Lam talked about floating photovoltaic panels that are waves resistant on the mainland. In Hong Kong waters, the changes in tides and waves is minimum compared to other places. So the cost effectiveness and efficiency of installing similar facilities may be low. Hong Kong may not be a suitable location to have such installations, but we look at offshore wind farms and other facilities. We think that the cost effectiveness of these facilities is not as good as a switch to natural gas. But we foresee that the cost of wind farms will be driven down in the future. We will work along this line. As well as to whether there are suitable facilities for Hong Kong, the EMSD is working with the AFCD on the possibility of installing photovoltaic panels on fish ponds, using it as a supplementary facilities. On the top, the panels will harvest solar energy. At the bottom, The pond will be used for fish culture. A dedicated working group has been set up to conduct studies. We look forward to the recommendations from the working group. Mr. Edmund Wong. Well, development of international tourism hub as well as island tourism have been written into the policy address. But as these areas span over many different BDs, it's fragmented. If there is development of island tourism, then you have to liaise different government departments. When there are proposals of development or revitalizations to use islands, then you have to approach the Marine Department, but they only look at regulation and safety. They don't think about the economy. If there is no interdepartmental coordination group at the moment, in the short term, are there any ways to resolve the communications difficulties and fragmentation in responsibilities among the different departments in the development of the marine economy? We don't want to lose any opportunities. Secretary. In my main reply, I said that even though there is no top-level coordination mechanism in place, each bureau is in charge of their own portfolio. Development of marine economy is an important part of our work. If it falls under a specific scope, then they can approach the respective department. Say, if the Development Bureau needs to work with the EEB, and if you need to go to the Lands Department because it involves a piece of land, don't forget that is under one government. There is an effective communication mechanism in place. We'll work together to look at the project. You can liaise with the relevant policy bureau, and the policy bureau will liaise other relevant government departments and departments. Mr. Porter. Well, without intending for any offense or anything, I think that sending the Secretary for Environment and Ecology to be in charge in the reply of this question shows that there is a lack of importance attached to this topic. Yes, the economy is important, just like conservation. Marine is an important part in national security, and there are marine facilities of our country that have shown enormous potential. It said in your reply that the fisheries contribute about 0.1% to our GDP, but our country is the only possible competitor against the US in terms of fisheries industry. There should be more importance attached to this area. Should there be an interdepartmental working group or coordination groups put in place, as Mr. Ho suggested, so that we will be a pioneer and instead of one that lags behind? I have already explained in my main reply. Under the marine economy, different bureaus and departments have action plans, development strategies, and blueprints. It's not the case that we are not the forerunners, or that we don't have, or that we are not forward-looking. The development of marine economy-related areas will dovetail with the existing initiatives within the BDs, creating synergy. At this point in time, we think that the current approach suits Hong Kong's situation. But I can say for sure that we will closely monitor the development of marine economy development in Hong Kong and other places. If need be, we will look into enhancement of the development approach, hoping to take it to a new level.
Last question seeking an oral reply, Mr. Bill Tang. President, there are views pointing out that the expansion project of UCH, the United Christian Hospital, has been delayed since its launch in 2015, and that the design specifications do not meet the latest medical requirements. In this connection, will the government inform this council, one, of the progress of the aforesaid expansion project and the exact date when the expanded facilities will officially commence operation, whether the completion date of the project is later than originally planned, if so, of the main reasons for that. 2, as there are views that the design of the renovated buildings and facilities, such as the height of stories and the load-bearing standards, under the aforesaid expansion project is different from the specifications of new hospitals nowadays and may not meet the storage or operational requirements of some medical devices. Whether the government knows if the hospital authority has put in place remedial measures or make appropriate arrangements in this regard. And 3, whether the playground site adjacent to UCH be retained for use in the next phase of the hospital's expansion project, if so, of the specific boundary of the site and the timetable for planning and survey works, if not the reasons for that. Secretary for Health. President. Established in 1973, the United Christian Hospital, UCH, is a major acute hospital in the Kowloon East cluster. It provides 24-hour accident and emergency services and a range of specialist outpatient, inpatient, ambulatory extended care, and community medical services. Together with the Cheung Kwan O Hospital and the Haven of Hope Hospital in the cluster, the UCH provides comprehensive clinical services to the residents of the Kwun Tong and Sai Kung districts. To meet the ever-increasing healthcare service demand of the two districts, the government obtained funding approval from LegCo to carry out the main works of the expansion project of the UCH in 2020. The expansion project is one of the 16 projects under the first hospital development plan. Having consulted the hospital authority, my reply to the question raised by Mr. Bill Tang is as follows. 1. The UCH expansion project will not only bring about additional diagnostic and treatment facilities to the healthcare services system and comprehensively improve the ambulatory care services and integrated services, but also provide a new oncology center and an additional 560 beds as well as 5 operating theaters. The expanded A&E department will see its area increased from 1,600 square meters to 4,240 square meters. That's over 250% of the original area. The main works commenced in September 2020 and were originally planned for completion by 2024. Due to delay, the ambulatory block is now anticipated to be progressively completed starting from the end of 2025 and to commence operation in phases in mid-2026 the earliest. The expansion and redevelopment under the expansion project amidst ongoing hospital operations and interfacing of the new block with existing hospital premises mean that adjustments to works are required to address various construction constraints. The overall progress is therefore affected and deviates from the previously over-optimistically estimated completion time. The other major reasons can be summarized as follows. 1. Site constraints. The limited space and vehicular access at UCH, the extensive and complex nature of the project, its location in an old district, the adjacent slope, and numerous underground utility pipes and facilities have all posed significant challenges to the works. The difference between the actual and anticipated position of the underground utility pipes and facilities resulted in modifications to the design from time to time, and diversion works with existing
existing underground utilities were needed to accommodate the design and the actual ground conditions. 2. Unsatisfactory performance of the consultants and the contractors. DHA has repeatedly urged the consultants and contractors to take remedial measures to catch up with works progress. If it is proved that the delay was caused by inappropriate design or works arrangements, DHA will follow up in accordance with the terms of the contracts. 3. Impact from COVID and inclement weather. The works were launched in September 2020. And the pandemic had affected the contractors' deployment of manpower and supplies of materials. The fifth wave of the pandemic in 2022 also affected the progress of the works. Inclement weather also affected the progress. The expansion project involves in-situ redevelopment, with clinical services being maintained under limited conditions. I'd like to express my gratitude towards all healthcare staff for their patient-oriented spirit in providing high-quality services to the patients, as well as towards the public for their understanding and patience towards the inconveniences arising from the construction works. DHA will continue to maintain close communication with the district councils and the community and report the progress related to the expansion project and service developments in a timely manner. 2. In respect of hospital works projects involving in-situ expansion or redevelopment, as the projects need to be undertaken amidst ongoing hospital operations with new blocks interfacing with existing hospital premises, constraints would be imposed. Such constraints, however, are not insurmountable. The DHA has been taking corresponding measures in setting up healthcare services and facilities in the UCH. Existing conditions and the operational needs have been taken into consideration, while new medical equipment and facilities are set up in accordance with the relevant standards and specifications, with the structure of the building reinforced according to the requirements in the building construction regulation if necessary, to ensure that such facilities can meet the service needs in future. 3. The government announced in 2018 that it had invited the DHA to commence planning for the second Hospital Development Plan, or HDP, which was to be implemented to meet the service demand up to 2036. With the changes in the planning and development situation in Hong Kong, and having regard to its territory-wide and regional planning and development strategies with the latest corresponding change in population projections, as well as the population policy, the Health Bureau and the HA are reviewing the second HDP by adopting a planning horizon of up to 2041 and beyond, and to project the healthcare services demand and consider the supply and conditions of the land required for optimizing the second HDP. The government also considers factors such as the development need of individual hospitals and its cost effectiveness, and the convenience of public access to healthcare services under various major transport infrastructure development plans for determining the distribution, scale, and priority, and so on, of the hospital development projects. In the light of the experience gained under the first HDP, the government will, in the second HDP, strive to implement hospital redevelopment projects on clear sites as far as practicable, such as a composite development in an existing hospital site and an adjacent government site, to optimize the development potential of the projects and minimize the impact on existing hospital operations. In the case of the UCH, exploring the use of the adjoining recreational ground as a decanting site for further redevelopment is an option that may be considered. After the completion of the review, the government will announce the details of the second HDP at an appropriate juncture. Mr. Bill Tang. I would like to thank all the medical workers of the UCH for providing on a continuous basis quality services. This is tough. Also, the government has considered the site next to the hospital for future expansion. It is mentioned by the Secretary that it will consider expansion or further redevelopment in the future. The hospital has 50-some years of history, so redevelopment and expansion is necessary. We see continuous growth of population in Kowloon East. We have over 100,000 people in Cheung Kwan O. We also have the problem of aging population, even with expansion and redevelopment. For example, some elderly people may get COVID. They may have illnesses in their knees, and they have to receive rehabilitation services in Kowloon. So even with the expansion, the service capacity is not enough. So my question is, will the government consider prioritizing the expansion of the UCH and prioritize site investigation works to help the residents in the Kowloon East cluster? Secretary, the Health Bureau and the Hospital Authority, when considering the service demand in the public healthcare system, will comprehensively consider the population change and demographic structure under the 7 clusters. For the expansion of the UCH, apart from expanding services, the project is also expanding the service capacity. So we are talking about both expansion and redevelopment. We are already seeing redevelopment of the UCH. Mr. Tang asked about rehabilitation service. With the expansion, the convalescent and rehabilitation service under the Kowloon East cluster will be enhanced. As to whether the expansion will meet the service needs in terms of the number of beds, we will see an increase of 560 beds under the expansion project. As for the Haven of Hope Hospital, we will see an increase of 160 hospital beds. After the completion of the expansion and redevelopment projects, the total number of hospital beds will be more than 3,300 beds, and compared to the estimate we made for 2031, we will see an increase. Dr. Frankie An, if the government is to go ahead with the second phase of the expansion project of the UCH, I'm worried about interfacing issues. On Sao Mau Ping Road, there will be the mass transit system station in Shun Hon Station, and there will be bus services in Sao A Road. As for Sao Ming Road, people in the districts have always been longing for a pedestrian linkage system so that the over 100,000 people in Sao Mau Ping could walk to the UCH. Will the government consider introducing such pedestrian linkage system in the second phase of the expansion project? Secretary, regarding the pedestrian linkage system, well, we have already launched a construction works which will link up Sao Mau Ping and the UCH. The Highways Department have already commenced works to connect the northern part of Sao Mau Ping Road as well as the pedestrian at the Sao Mau Ping Road. The government will work with the hospital authority so that the works will complement each other. We believe the works will be completed by 2027. We will offer better services, better healthcare services for local residents. We will also enhance the accessibility of the hospital so that the hospital can be connected with the nearby residential developments. Dr. David Lam, I have worked for public hospitals, the UCH, for 7 years. The medical workers there are very professional. They work very hard. Kwun Tong is an old district. We have come across many patients that suffered from stroke. In the UCH, there are no neurosurgical department. Will there be such a department in the Kowloon East cluster or the UCH? Secretary, we take into consideration different factors. We consider the adequacy of facilities as well as manpower. To build a neurosurgery team, we need many support services as well as specialists. The hospital authority will take into consideration the comprehensive development of the healthcare system as well as the healthcare services. Under the hospital authority, there is a committee on neurosurgery that reviews the different healthcare services provided by the HA. Mr. Paul Che. President, we've just experienced 2 to 3 year long expansion projects at the electrical complex. A lot of resources have been put into the project. It is a rather static project compared to the expansion project of the UCH, which involves a lot of patients and medical workers. I understand how hard the medical workers have been working, and I thank them for their devotion. Secretary said that he would look for vacant sites to minimize operational impacts. Now that the government is considering a second phase of the expansion project and that it is identifying an appropriate site nearby for the project, will the government, as early as possible, identify the appropriate site for expansion project so that the expansion project will not, like this one, drag for so long? Secretary, we have learned the lesson and we now understand the difficulties with in situ redevelopment to maintain the operation of the hospital and at the same time carry out works. There are difficulties which may affect the operations of the hospital. Expansion of hospital is a rather complicated procedure. We have to have construction workers and at the same time medical workers on the same site. In future, if we're to go ahead with expansion projects, we will try to avoid such situations. Block S of the UCH is a major service building of the hospital. Most of the major surgeries or operations, including A&E wards, are there. To build a new block that is completely connected with this 18-story block is challenging. We have to ensure connectivity on each floor. We have to adjust the services provided before we commence the works. So I agree that this should be taken into consideration for future expansion projects. As to whether we are at this stage considering the timetable for the next expansion project, the answer is no. This is because the first phase expansion project will already allow us to meet the service demand up to 2031. We will see an increase of hospital beds. We will take into consideration the latest population projection. We will look at the population projection up to 2046. After we've considered all these factors, we will announce the second hospital development plan. Thank you. Mr. Holden Chow. In the main reply, there's mentioned about constraints to the UCH expansion project and the unsatisfactory performance of contractors. In Tuen Mun District, we also see redevelopment of Tuen Mun clinics. Recently, we have seen delays in projects carried out by contractors because of some financial problems. Are the contractors involved in this particular expansion project facing financial problems which caused the delay, Secretary. According to the information we received from the HA, it seems like it is not a financial issue on the contractor's side. According to my main reply, we noticed problems such as impact from COVID. In September 2020, we launched the construction works and we were experiencing COVID at that time, and it was during the 5th wave of COVID. The situation was very serious. We underestimated the works to be carried out nearby, which include diversion works. In terms of the design and construction works, we also underestimated the challenges we would face in situ expansion and redevelopment, as we have to ensure connectivity between the existing buildings and the new blocks. The HA has taken a lot of actions. For example, it has been holding meetings with the contractors. The HA has also issued a lot of warnings as well as warning letters. Starting from 2020, the HA issued 139 written reminders and warnings. In relation to unsatisfactory performance to contractors and subcontractors, it issued 9 reports. As for the project consultants, the HA issued 5 reports concerning their unsatisfactory performances. It has also issued a lot of warning letters to the contractors. However, we haven't noticed any financial problems on the contractors' side.
24年
Government bills. This council resumes the second reading debate on the Companies Amendment No. 2 Bill 2024.